The stranded expedition. The void of space shimmered as the starship Horizon pierced through the darkness, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the looming planet ahead. It was a desolate world, all jagged mountains and toxic atmosphere, but it held promise. Humanity's ever-expanding reach had brought them to this distant corner of the galaxy, searching for resources to fuel their growing interstellar civilization. "Final approach, Captain," announced Navigator Tom Reeves, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "Entering the atmosphere in 3, 2, 1. The ship shuddered as it plunged into the planet's thick, murky air. Warning lights flashed across the console, and alarms blared throughout the vessel. "Status report," Chen barked, gripping her chair as the ship bucked and swayed. Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm. "The atmosphere's more corrosive than we anticipated, Captain. It's eating through our outer hull." Chen's mind raced. They couldn't abort now. They were committed to the landing. "Full power to the shields, Maya. Tom, find us a landing zone. Now." The Horizon screamed through the sky, leaving a trail of smoke and debris in its wake. Tom's eyes darted across his screens, searching for any patch of stable ground. "There," he shouted, pointing to a relatively flat expanse of rock. "It's our best shot." Chen nodded grimly. "Take us in." The ship hit the ground with a bone-jarring impact, skidding across the rocky surface before coming to a stop at the base of a towering cliff. For a moment, all was silent save for the creaking of stressed metal and the hiss of escaping atmosphere. Chen took a deep breath, wincing at the acrid taste in the air. "Sound off. Is everyone all right?" A chorus of affirmatives echoed through the ship. Chen allowed herself a moment of relief before switching back to command mode. "Maya, damage report. Tom, start scanning the area. Dr. Patel, prep the med bay for any injuries. Let's move, people." As the crew scrambled to their tasks, Chen made her way to the airlock. Donning an environmental suit, she needed to see the damage for herself. As the outer door hissed open, she stepped onto alien soil for the first time. The landscape was bleak and forbidding. Jagged rock formations jutted into a sickly green sky, and pools of bubbling liquid dotted the ground. Chen activated her suit's sensors, grimacing at the readings. The atmosphere was a toxic soup of corrosive gases, and the background radiation was off the charts. "Captain," Maya's voice crackled in her ear. "You need to see this." Chen made her way around the ship, her breath catching in her throat as she saw the extent of the damage. The Horizon's once gleaming hull was pitted and scarred, great chunks of metal eaten away by the caustic air. "Can we fix it?" she asked, already knowing the answer. Maya shook her head. "Not with what we have on board. We'd need a full space dock to repair this kind of damage." Chen's mind raced. They were stranded on this hellish world, their ship crippled beyond repair. Their distress beacon might reach the nearest human outpost, but it would take weeks for a rescue ship to arrive. They needed to find shelter, conserve their resources, and somehow survive in this hostile environment. As if in response to her thoughts, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. At first, Chen thought it might be some kind of seismic activity, but the vibrations were too regular, too rhythmic. "Everyone back inside," she ordered, her instincts screaming danger. But before they could reach the airlock, a deafening roar split the air. The cliff face behind the ship began to crumble, revealing a massive cavern. And from within that dark maw emerged a sight that left Chen and her crew frozen in awe and terror. It was a dragon. Not the mythical beasts of Earth legends, but something far more alien and magnificent. Its body was the size of their ship, covered in iridescent scales that seemed to absorb and reflect the toxic atmosphere. Great wings, tattered and torn, unfurled from its sides. But it was the creature's eyes that captivated Chen, ancient, intelligent, and filled with a pain that transcended species. The dragon dragged itself from the cave, each movement clearly in agony. It regarded the humans with a mixture of curiosity and wariness, its breaths coming in labored gasps. Dr. Aisha Patel, the team's xenobiologist, stepped forward, her voice filled with wonder. It's impossible. The starbound dragons were supposed to be extinct. Chen had heard the stories, of course. The starbound dragons were once revered as guardians of the cosmos, beings of immense power and wisdom. But they had vanished centuries ago, hunted to extinction by the Galactic Union for reasons lost to history. Yet here was one, alive but clearly wounded, stranded on this toxic world just as they were. The dragon's gaze locked onto Chen, and she felt a presence brush against her mind. Not words, exactly, but feelings, images, pain, loneliness, a plea for help. In that moment, Captain Sarah Chen made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. They were stranded, yes, with limited resources and a hostile environment trying to kill them at every turn. But they were human, and if humanity had proven anything over the centuries, it was their ability to survive against impossible odds. Dr. Patel, she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins, what do you know about dragon physiology? Aisha blinked in surprise. Not much, Captain. They're largely a mystery, even in the old records. Chen nodded. Well, you're about to become the galaxy's foremost expert. Maya, Tom, gather every scrap of medical equipment we have. We're going to save this dragon. Her crew looked at her in disbelief, but Chen could see the determination kindling in their eyes. This is what humans did best. Faced with the impossible, they found a way. As they rushed to gather supplies, Chen approached the dragon slowly, her hands raised in a universal gesture of peace. The creature's eyes followed her, wary but curious. I don't know if you can understand me, Chen said softly, but we're going to help you. Somehow, we'll find a way off this rock together. The dragon rumbled, a sound that vibrated through Chen's bones. And though it might have been her imagination, she could have sworn she saw a flicker of hope in those ancient eyes. As the crew of the Horizon rallied around their unexpected ally, none of them realized that their actions would spark a chain of events that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. For now, they focused on the immediate challenge, keeping themselves and this magnificent creature alive on a world that seemed determined to kill them. The first step in their impossible mission had begun. Building trust. Days blended into weeks as the crew of the Horizon fought to survive on the hostile planet they now called Dragonfall. Captain Sarah Chen watched with a mixture of pride and concern as her team worked tirelessly to care for their alien charge while battling the planet's lethal environment. Dr. Aisha Patel had set up a makeshift medical bay in the shadow of the dragon's massive form, using salvaged equipment and no small amount of ingenuity. The xenobiologist's eyes were ringed with exhaustion, but they sparkled with excitement as she recorded her findings. It's extraordinary, Captain, Aisha explained, gesturing to her holographic displays. The dragon's physiology is unlike anything we've ever encountered. Its scales act as a natural defense against the corrosive atmosphere, and its respiratory system can filter out toxins that would kill any other known species. Chen nodded, impressed but focused on practical matters. Can we help it heal? Aisha's expression turned grave. That's the challenge. Its wounds are severe, likely inflicted by weapons far beyond our technology. I've been using a combination of our medical nanites and synthesized nutrients, but progress is slow. As if in response to their conversation, the dragon stirred, its massive head turning to regard them. Chen still wasn't used to the incredible intelligence in those eyes, nor the alien presence she felt brush against her mind whenever they made eye contact. Over the past weeks, they had made progress in communicating with the creature. It couldn't speak, at least not in any way they could understand, but it could project images and emotions. Through these fleeting mental contacts, they had pieced together fragments of its story. The dragon, which they had taken to calling Starfire, due to the cosmic energy that occasionally flickered beneath its scales, was indeed one of the legendary starbound dragons. It had once been a guardian of entire star systems, using its immense powers to shepherd fledgling civilizations and protect them from cosmic threats. But then came the rise of the Galactic Union, a vast coalition of advanced species that saw the dragons as a threat to their own power. Starfire's memories of the subsequent war were chaotic and painful. Flashes of battles among the stars, the agonized cries of its kin as they fell one by one. In the end, Starfire had been captured, its powers bound by technology they still didn't understand. The Union had exiled it to this toxic world, leaving it to die alone and forgotten. "Captain," Tom's voice crackled over the comm, snapping Chen back to the present. "We've got a problem. The atmosphere's eating through our temporary shelter faster than we can patch it. We need a new solution. Fast." Chen cursed under her breath. They had converted parts of the horizon into a pressurized living space, but the caustic air was relentless in its assault. She turned to Maya, who was elbow-deep in a piece of equipment she was trying to salvage. "Any ideas, Chief?" Chen asked. Maya wiped sweat from her brow, leaving a streak of grease. "Maybe. If we could adapt some of the dragon scales, use them as a protective coating. But I'd need a lot of them, and I don't think our friend here is in any shape to molt." Chen considered the problem, her mind racing. Then she felt it, a gentle prod against her consciousness. She turned to Starfire, whose eyes were fixed intently upon her. A series of images flashed through her mind. The cave from which the dragon had first emerged, tunnels stretching deep into the planet's crust. And something else, a sense of safety, of refuge. "Starfire," Chen said slowly, "are you saying there's somewhere safe down there? Somewhere we could shelter?" The dragon's head dipped in what was unmistakably a nod. Excitement raced through Chen, tempered by caution. "Tom, Maya, prep for an expedition. We're going spelunking." Hours later, Chen led a small team into the vast cavern system beneath the planet's surface. Starfire's massive form blocked most of the toxic atmosphere from entering, creating a breathable environment within. As they delved deeper, Chen marveled at the alien beauty around them. The rock walls were veined with strange, luminescent minerals that pulsed with an inner light. But it was what they found at the heart of the cavern system that took their breath away. A vast chamber opened before them, and at its center stood a structure that could only be described as a temple. Its architecture was both organic and geometric, as if it had grown from the living rock itself. "This is incredible," Aisha breathed, her scanner whirring as she took readings. "The energy signatures, it's similar to what I detected in Starfire, but on a massive scale." As they cautiously entered the temple, holographic displays flickered to life around them. Star charts, mathematical formulae, and images of cosmic phenomena beyond their understanding filled the air. "It's some kind of archive," Tom said in awe. "The collected knowledge of the starbound dragons." Chen felt a surge of hope. This place could be their salvation, a secure base of operations, and perhaps a key to healing Starfire and finding a way off the planet. But as she turned to share her thoughts with the team, a new image appeared before them. It showed a massive fleet of ships bearing the insignia of the Galactic Union, and they were heading directly for Dragonfall. Chen's blood ran cold. They had thought they were alone on this forgotten world, but it seemed their time was running out. The Union was coming, and they would not look kindly on humans harboring the very creature they had exiled. As the implications sank in, Chen steeled herself for the challenges ahead. They had formed a bond with Starfire, uncovered secrets beyond imagination, and found a glimmer of hope in this harsh world. She would be damned if she let the Union take that away. "All right, people," she said, her voice ringing with determination. "We've got work to do. We need to get Starfire back on his feet and figure out how to use this place to our advantage. Because when the Union arrives, we're going to show them exactly what humans and dragons can do when we work together." The crew nodded, their faces set with grim determination. The real test was yet to come. But Chen knew one thing for certain. The Union had no idea what they were in for. The Union's return. The cavernous chamber hummed with activity as the crew of the Horizon worked feverishly to prepare for the impending arrival of the Galactic Union. Captain Sarah Chen stood before a holographic display of the planet's surface, her brow furrowed in concentration. "How long do we have, Tom?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the swirling patterns that represented the Union fleet's approach. The navigator checked his calculations for the 100th time. Best estimate, 36 hours before they enter orbit, maybe another 6 before they can launch a ground expedition through this atmosphere. Chen nodded grimly. It wasn't much time, but it would have to be enough. She turned to address her team, each member looking to her with a mixture of determination and barely concealed fear. "All right, people, this is what we've been preparing for. Maya, what's the status on our defenses?" The chief engineer stepped forward, her normally cheerful face set in a serious expression. "We've managed to reactivate some of the temple's ancient security systems. They're not much by modern standards, but they should give any Union ground forces a nasty surprise. We've also rigged up some EMP devices using salvaged parts from the Horizon. They won't stop a capital ship, but they might take out their smaller craft." "Good work," Chen said. "Aisha, how's our big friend doing?" The xenobiologist's eyes lit up with excitement despite the dire circumstances. "Starfire's recovery has been nothing short of miraculous, Captain. The energy from the temple seems to be accelerating the healing process. I think he might be strong enough to fly soon." A ripple of hope went through the assembled crew. If Starfire could take to the skies again, it would dramatically improve their odds of survival and escape. Chen allowed herself a small smile before turning to the final member of her core team. "Tom, what have you found in the archives?" The navigator's fingers danced across a holographic interface, bringing up a dizzying array of star charts and equations. "It's incredible, Captain. The knowledge stored here, it's beyond anything humanity has ever dreamed of. I've only scratched the surface, but I think I've found something that could turn the tide in our favor." He highlighted a particular section of data, and Chen leaned in for a closer look. Her eyes widened as she began to understand the implications. "Is this what I think it is?" she asked, her voice hushed with awe. Tom nodded. "A map of cosmic ley lines. The very currents of energy that the starbound dragons use to traverse the galaxy. If we can tap into this power, we might have a way out of here," Chen finished. She straightened up, a plan already forming in her mind. "All right, here's what we're going to do. Maya, Tom, focus on getting that map integrated into our systems. If we need," Chen straightened up, a plan already forming in her mind. "All right, here's what we're going to do. Maya, Tom, focus on getting that map integrated into our systems. If we need to make a quick exit, I want to be able to ride those ley lines out of here. Aisha, pour everything you've got into Starfire's recovery. We're going to need him at full strength." As her crew dispersed to their tasks, Chen felt a familiar presence brush against her mind. She turned to see Starfire's massive form filling the temple entrance, his eyes fixed upon her with an intensity that still took her breath away. Approaching the dragon, Chen placed a hand on his scales, marveling at the warmth and energy that pulsed beneath. "I don't suppose you have any ideas on how to deal with an invasion force?" she asked, only half joking. To her surprise, a series of images flashed through her mind. Stars exploding into supernovas, solar flares redirected with pinpoint accuracy, entire fleets scattered by cosmic storms. Chen's eyes widened as she began to understand. "You could do all that," she whispered in awe. Starfire's head dipped in affirmation, but the gesture was followed by a wave of frustration and helplessness. Chen understood. The dragon's power was still bound, locked away by Union technology. "We'll find a way," Chen promised, her voice fierce with determination. Together. The next day and a half passed in a blur of activity. The crew worked tirelessly, pushing themselves to the brink of exhaustion as they prepared for the coming storm. Chen tried to rest, knowing she would need all her faculties sharp for what was to come, but sleep eluded her. As the deadline approached, Chen gathered her team for a final briefing. The tension in the air was palpable, but there was also a sense of readiness, of determination. "This is it, people," Chen said, looking each of them in the eye. "In a few hours, the Union will be at our doorstep. They think they're coming to clean up loose ends, a forgotten prisoner and a stranded human ship. Instead, they're going to find us ready and waiting." She took a deep breath before continuing. "I won't lie to you. The odds are stacked against us. The Union has numbers, technology, and firepower on their side. But we have something they don't. We have each other. We have Starfire. And we have the element of surprise." Chen's voice grew stronger, filled with the kind of conviction that had led humanity to the stars. "We are not going to roll over and die on this rock. We are not going to let them take Starfire back into captivity. We are going to show the Galactic Union exactly what happens when they underestimate humanity and the allies we make." A cheer went up from the crew, their faces set with grim determination. As they dispersed to their positions, Chen made her way to the temple's entrance where Starfire waited. The dragon's eyes met hers, and she felt a surge of shared resolve flow between them. The first signs of the Union's arrival came as a series of sonic booms that shook the very bedrock of the planet. Chen watched on the holographic display as a fleet of ships entered orbit, their sleek designs a stark contrast to the utilitarian build of human vessels. "Multiple ships detected," Tom reported, his voice tense. "One capital class, at least a dozen support craft. They're launching atmospheric fighters. Count is 30 and rising." Chen nodded grimly. "Activate the temple's cloaking systems. Let's see if we can buy ourselves some time." For a tense hour, they watched as Union forces scoured the planet's surface. The fighters swooped low over the toxic landscape, their sensors probing for any sign of their quarry. Several times, they passed directly over the hidden temple, and Chen held her breath, praying that the ancient technology would hold. But their luck couldn't last forever. A particularly observant pilot must have noticed something amiss, for suddenly alarms blared throughout the temple. "They found us," Maya shouted. "Cloaking field is destabilizing." Chen's mind raced. They weren't ready. Starfire was still too weak, and they needed more time to fully unlock the secrets of the ley lines. But ready or not, the battle was upon them. "Maya, initiate defense protocols. Tom, start warming up those EMP devices. Aisha, stay with Starfire. Do whatever you can to speed up his recovery." As her crew leaped into action, Chen turned to face the temple entrance. Outside, she could hear the scream of approaching fighters and the ominous hum of energy weapons charging. The Union had returned to Dragonfall, intent on finishing what they had started centuries ago. But this time, they would find more than a lone weakened dragon. This time, they would face the combined might of humanity's ingenuity and a starbound dragon's ancient power. As the first explosions rocked the mountainside, Captain Sarah Chen steeled herself for the fight of her life. The fate of her crew, of Starfire, and perhaps of the entire galaxy hung in the balance. The battle for Dragonfall had begun. Escape and pursuit. The temple shook violently as Union forces hammered at its ancient defenses. Captain Sarah Chen braced herself against a control panel, her eyes darting between holographic displays showing the chaotic battle unfolding outside. "Maya, status report," she shouted over the din of alarms and explosions. The chief engineer's voice crackled through the comm, strained but determined. "Outer defenses are holding, but they won't last much longer. Those Union ships pack a hell of a punch." Chen gritted her teeth. They needed more time. "Tom, how are we doing with those ley line calculations?" "Almost there, Captain." The navigator replied, his fingers flying over holographic interfaces. "The data is incredibly complex. One wrong variable, and we could end up scattered across half the galaxy." Another explosion rocked the temple, closer this time. Chen could hear the screech of twisting metal and the ominous rumble of collapsing stone. "We're out of time," she muttered, turning to the massive form of Starfire, who watched the proceedings with ancient, worried eyes. Chen made a decision. "We need to move. Now." The dragon's head dipped in agreement. Through their mental link, Chen felt a surge of determination tinged with fear. Starfire was far from fully healed, and using his powers while still partially bound by Union technology would be incredibly painful and dangerous. "Aisha," Chen called out to the xenobiologist, "is Starfire ready for this?" Dr. Patel looked up from her medical equipment, her face etched with concern. "Physiologically, no. But, Captain, I don't think we have a choice. It's now or never." Chen nodded grimly. "All right, people, this is it. Maya, divert all remaining power to the temple's inner chambers. Tom, upload those ley line coordinates to my personal device. Aisha, do what you can to support Starfire. We're making a run for it." As her crew scrambled to comply, Chen approached Starfire. Placing a hand on the dragon's scales, she felt the thrum of cosmic energy beneath, like a caged star yearning to be free. "I know you're not at full strength," she said softly, "but I need you to dig deep. Can you get us out of here?" Starfire's eyes met hers, and Chen was struck by the depth of emotion she saw there. Determination, fear, and something else. Trust. The dragon trusted her, trusted all of them, in a way it hadn't trusted anyone in centuries. A series of images flashed through Chen's mind. Stars streaking by, the rush of cosmic winds, the exhilaration of flight between worlds. Yes, Starfire could do it, but it would take everything he had. "All right, listen up." Chen addressed her team. "We're going to make a break for the surface. Once we're clear of the atmosphere, Starfire is going to attempt to jump us into the cosmic ley lines. It's going to be rough, and I can't guarantee where we'll end up, but it's our only shot." She looked each of her crew members in the eye, seeing the mix of fear and resolve on their faces. "I'm proud of all of you. No matter what happens next, know that you've accomplished something extraordinary here. You've made first contact with a species thought extinct, unlocked secrets of the universe, and stood up to the most powerful force in the galaxy. That's one hell of a resume." A nervous chuckle rippled through the group, breaking the tension for just a moment. Chen allowed herself a small smile before continuing. "Now let's show the Union what happens when they mess with humanity and our dragon friend." With a thunderous roar that shook the very foundations of the temple, Starfire reared up, his wings unfurling to their full, magnificent span. The crew scrambled to secure themselves on the dragon's back, using makeshift harnesses they had prepared for just this eventuality. "Maya, on my mark, overload the temple's power core," Chen ordered as she took her position at the base of Starfire's neck. "Let's leave the Union a little parting gift." "Aye, Captain." "It's been an honor," Maya replied, her voice thick with emotion. Chen took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would determine not just their fate, but potentially the course of galactic history. Mark. The world exploded into chaos. The temple's remaining defenses fell away as Starfire burst through layers of rock and metal, surging towards the toxic sky above. Union fighters swarmed around them, energy weapons lancing through the air. Behind them, the temple erupted in a massive explosion, the released energy scattering the closest Union ships like leaves in a storm. Chen felt a pang of loss. So much knowledge, lost forever. But there was no time for regrets. "Hang on," she shouted as Starfire banked hard, avoiding a barrage of weapons fire. The dragon's movements were labored, each beat of his massive wings clearly causing him pain. But still he flew, driven by a determination that matched their own. As they broke through the atmosphere, Chen's breath caught in her throat. The vastness of space spread out before them, beautiful and terrifying. But there was no time to admire the view. The Union capital ship loomed ahead, its weapons ports glowing with deadly intent. "Starfire, now," Chen urged, feeling the dragon gather the last reserves of his strength. For a moment, nothing happened. Chen's heart sank. Had they come this far only to fail at the final hurdle? But then she felt it, a surge of power unlike anything she had ever experienced. The very fabric of space seemed to bend around them, stars blurring into streaks of light. With a flash that outshone suns, Starfire tore a hole in reality itself. Chen felt a moment of vertigo as they plunged into the cosmic ley line, the laws of physics twisting in ways her mind couldn't comprehend. The last thing she saw before the portal closed behind them was the Union fleet, dwindling to insignificance in the face of the universe's true wonders. They had escaped, but to where, and what challenges awaited them, only time would tell. As Starfire carried them through currents of cosmic energy, Captain Sarah Chen held on tight, her mind reeling from the impossibility of their situation. They were alive, they were free, and they had just changed the course of galactic history. The journey through the stars had only just begun. A new alliance. The cosmic ley line spat them out in a burst of iridescent energy, leaving the crew of the Horizon and their dragon ally tumbling through unfamiliar space. Captain Sarah Chen's head spun as she tried to orient herself, the vast starfield around them offering no familiar constellations. Status report. She called out, her voice hoarse from the strain of their escape. One by one, her crew responded, battered but alive. Tom was the first to regain his bearings, his eyes wide as he consulted his navigational instruments. "Captain, you're not going to believe this," he said, his voice filled with awe. "We're in the Andromeda Galaxy." A stunned silence fell over the group. Andromeda, humanity's nearest galactic neighbor, yet still impossibly far by conventional travel. They had crossed a distance that would have taken their fastest ships millions of years to traverse. "Starfire," Chen breathed, turning to the massive dragon beneath them. "You've done the impossible." But her elation was short-lived. Starfire's breathing was labored, his once vibrant scales now dull and lifeless. The monumental effort of the jump had taken its toll. "Aisha," Chen called out. "Starfire needs help. Now." The xenobiologist was already moving, her medical kit in hand. As she worked to stabilize the dragon, Chen turned her attention to their immediate surroundings. They were drifting in open space, vulnerable and alone in an unfamiliar galaxy. "Maya, can you rig up some kind of distress beacon?" Chen asked. "Something that won't attract the wrong kind of attention." The engineer nodded, already cobbling together components from their salvaged equipment. "I think I can modify one of our communication arrays to emit a narrowband signal. It won't reach far, but it might catch the attention of any nearby ships." Hours passed as they drifted through space, clinging to Starfire's massive form. Aisha worked tirelessly to treat the dragon's injuries, while Maya fine-tuned their makeshift beacon. Tom pored over the star charts they had salvaged from the temple, trying to make sense of their position in this new galaxy. Chen found herself gazing out at the unfamiliar stars, her mind racing with the implications of their journey. They had escaped the Galactic Union, yes, but at what cost? They were stranded in a foreign galaxy, their only ally gravely wounded. And yet, as she looked at her crew, tired, scared, but unbroken, she felt a surge of pride and hope. Suddenly, Tom's voice cut through her thoughts. "Captain, I'm picking up a signal. A ship is approaching." Chen's heart raced. Friend or foe? In this unknown territory, there was no way to tell. "Everyone, be ready for anything," she ordered, her hand instinctively reaching for her weapon. A ship appeared on the horizon, unlike any they had ever seen. Its design was organic, almost alive, pulsing with an inner light that reminded Chen of Starfire's scales. As it drew closer, a voice echoed in their minds, not through any communication device, but directly into their thoughts. "Children of Earth," the voice said, its tone filled with warmth and curiosity. "We have long awaited your arrival." Chen stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Horizon. We come in peace, seeking aid for our friend." The alien ship drew alongside them, and a figure emerged, a being of pure energy, vaguely humanoid in shape, but shimmering with cosmic power. "We are the Guardians," the being explained, its mental voice resonating with ancient wisdom. "Long ago, we were allies of the starbound dragons, before the rise of the Galactic Union forced us into hiding. We have watched and waited, hoping for a sign that the balance of power might shift." The being's gaze fell upon Starfire, and a wave of concern washed over them all. "You have done well to bring him this far. Come, we will take you to our sanctuary. There is much to discuss." As their strange assemblage was enveloped in the Guardian ship's energy field, Shen felt a weight lift from her shoulders. They were not alone in this vast, unfamiliar galaxy. They had found allies, powerful ones. Days passed as Starfire recovered in the Guardian's care. The crew of the Horizon marveled at the advanced technology and cosmic wonders that surrounded them. They learned of the Guardian's history, of their long vigil watching over the galaxies, and of their hope that one day a force would arise to challenge the Galactic Union's oppressive rule. As Starfire regained his strength, the bond between dragon and humans grew stronger. Through their mental link, he shared with them the full extent of his knowledge and power, secrets of the universe that humanity had only dreamed of understanding. On the eve of their departure, for they all knew that they could not hide forever, Chen stood before the assembled Guardians, her crew and Starfire by her side. "We came to you as refugees," she said, her voice ringing with determination. "But we leave as something more. We have seen the injustice of the Galactic Union, the wonders they would suppress, the allies they would discard, and we can no longer stand idly by." She looked at each of her crew members, seeing the same resolve in their eyes. "We may be few, and our enemy may be vast, but we have something they lack: hope and the willingness to stand up for what's right." Starfire's voice rumbled in their minds, filled with a strength and purpose that had long been dormant. "Together," the dragon said, "we will rekindle the flames of freedom across the stars." The Guardians nodded in approval, their energy forms pulsing with excitement. "Then go," their leader said, "with our blessing and our aid. The time has come to challenge the old order, to forge a new path for all sentient beings." As they prepared to depart, Shen felt a sense of destiny settling over them. They had started this journey as a simple exploration mission, and now found themselves at the heart of a rebellion that spanned galaxies. The crew of the Horizon, a reborn starbound dragon, and the Cosmic Guardians, an unlikely alliance, but one with the potential to reshape the very fabric of the universe. As they set course for the Milky Way, Chen knew that the greatest adventure of their lives was just beginning. The stars stretched out before them, a canvas of infinite possibilities, and somewhere out there, the Galactic Union waited, unaware that their days of unchallenged dominion were coming to an end. The battle for the future of the galaxies had begun.